right, we have Amy with us. Good morning, Amy.
Good morning, Mike.
Nice to catch you this morning. Glad you have your coffee. I understand you have some things that happened yesterday, so I would love, if you don't mind, to do a little bit of recap of what's transpired over the last couple of weeks and then take us up through yesterday so people understand the story. And so please start if you don't mind. That would be awesome.
Right. Well, the great news is that I've um, I've had notification. I've got a barrister for my case on Monday, um, which as the time gets closer, um, make a little bit anxious. I mean, so crazy. The have.
Your wireless is cutting in and out a little bit. I'm not sure what's going on. Can you hear me? I'm not sure if you can hear me. There you go. You're back. Your wireless was cutting off a little bit. We got you now. So you were saying about the barrister.
Yes. I've got a barrister who will represent me on Monday, which is fantastic. Although I'm going to have to get some funds going like mad now, because it's not going to be cheap. Because he's not local. He's going to be a London-based one. So, just hoping that he will do his thing. And I'm just hoping I haven't been able to speak to him properly because I'm getting him through friends of mine who helped me last time. They know of him, so. So I'm excited about the fact that I've got somebody in my corner who I feel will be able to take on the so-called justice system here.
Sure. All of this is costing quite a bit as well, if you don't mind me asking. I mean, I know that most courts are unaffordable to go through these processes, but do you mind tossing out any type of numbers that this is costing?
Well, it's going to be potentially at least a couple of £1,000, which is close to what's over £3,000, $3,000. Sorry.
Okay.
That's the thing. I don't know if I can't afford him at the moment. That's the problem. But I mean, I haven't discussed the proper finances with him yet. But I will have to be. It's all a bit. My mind's going a bit mad, 10 to the dozen, because of all the stuff that's going on. I mean, last night I had this weird call to tell me to stop my Periscope from the police, and
so what happened with that? So explain what happened yesterday.
Well, I was doing a Periscope, and my phone that I was doing the Periscope on rang, and I disconnected the call a couple of times because obviously I was in the middle of a Periscope, and so my Periscope kept going. And then the third time, it was late, and the third time it happened, I thought, okay, I'm gonna have to see what this call is, and I saw that said no caller ID, which is what is used by the police a lot for when they, contact you. And so I then they'd left me a voicemail, and it was a voice telling me it was the Met Police, which is London Police.
Mm-hmm.
Saying, stop the Periscope broadcast now.
And they told you that verbally, stop the Periscope broadcast.
Well, interestingly, I mean, it was a sort of automated. It was said my name and then an automated instruction to stop the Periscope broadcast. Now, which is it's very bizarre. I mean, my thing is that I don't know what the police have done with their systems. I don't know. We know that they've admitted to monitoring social media and Twitters and all sorts. So whether they pre-recorded an instruction, a direction to stop things, I just don't know. It was the most bizarre experience.
Very. I've never seen that. I've never seen that. Have you heard of this before? This happened to someone else?
Never heard of it. So and then obviously I'm saying I don't know. Some people think it's a hoax, but until I can really have a discussion with a policeman I can trust, because they don't tell us anything anymore. Oh, it's so sad. We can't trust the people are supposed to be able to trust. So I have got a reference number. I'll make another call. Say I've had I appreciate the feedback from people, because they've said that they think it's a hoax. It could be the connection with the London people who want to do me in, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. If you don't mind, Amy, let me give some people that are new some background on you and on what we've gone through, because some people
Sure.
are asking, what you've done, who are you and all that stuff. So let me give some background, if you don't mind, okay?
Sorry, my connection's not very good, is it?
No problem. Let me give a little background on what's going on so people know. You are cutting in and out a little bit. You can still hear me? Hopefully you're still there. You still there? You can hear me?
I'm here. I can hear you.
Okay. So I've known Amy a little over 2 years. She started watching my show a while back. I also caught some of Amy. Amy was doing some pretty fun storytelling time at night, built up a beautiful audience of really great people. I believe at the time Amy had dual citizenship. I believe, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, and she's all MAGA, all in, supports the president, traveled to the U.S. to attend events on behalf of MAGA and many other things, and is always cheering on the president. There are a lot of haters out there that Amy and I have dealt with that have done some very horrible things. And when I say horrible, I don't mean just name calling. I mean trying to dox people, going and doing and successfully doing so, trying to get Amy to commit suicide, laughing about it, calling her names, posting medical records. These are the same people that claim to be MAGA, and I'm very happy to say, or you're welcome to say who it is, Amy.
Sure.
Go ahead, and I can tell people about it.
Oh, it's the MAGA coalition.
So if you guys are familiar with what Amy just said, it's people that use the name MAGA in the way they broadcast, which, by the way, they don't use that name anymore. They just stopped broadcasting under that name last week. That includes people like Glenn and other people that you guys have asked me about. They're not good people. Amy did some deep diving and found out that the FEC filing showed that they were using incoming money for things that shouldn't be spent on behalf of MAGA. Am I right, Amy?
Well, yeah, and they were also they used Glenn used the most foul language I've ever heard in my life, and just constantly went after MAGA people, which my issue always was the fact that with the Periscope platform they had, and with other platforms they had, where people might tune in, see MAGA, and tune in and hear this disgusting, vitriolic, revolting language that was anything but MAGA. So
anything. In fact, their language was so vile. Glenn would speak about all types of. He'd talk about his butt. He would talk about everything, and he has an audience of people cheering him on, and also cheering him on as he would devastate Amy, as he would come after me, and they would dedicate our shows just to make sure that they could devastate Amy or devastate me in the worst, vile possible way. What bothered me most are the people in there are some of the people that would come into Amy's show, my show, that sometimes were befriended or trusted, that would talk one way to us, and then in their show would cheer along as they continued to devastate Amy. And when I say so, it was severe. It was not mild language. It was trying to coach her to kill herself. It was disgusting, and Amy and I had chats offline about it. It was very bad, and Amy made it through just fine. While that was happening, Amy still cheered on MAGA, still would go to Speaker's Corner and stand up for what she believes is best for where she lives. And just from speech alone, we'll call it the speech police would try to come after Amy. And now she has an upcoming court case regarding, Amy, tell exactly real quick why you're going to court.
Okay, because I had a disagreement with a man in a car park who became aggressive with me, and I told him to have a gay day as he left. Have a gay day is what I said. Those are the exact words I used. And he flew into a rage, and then he came at me, and I had to push him away from me because he was being very threatening. And he called the police and accused me of a homophobic hate crime and assault. Now, as it happens, the assault charges dropped. I can't believe he phoned the police. So, none of that did I expect to have anything happen. But over time, the police came to my house on 2 occasions, one on a Sunday and the other time to arrest me, which I think is, it is out there on the internet.
Yes.
So I'm being put on trial for, but it's a homophobic hate crime for intimidating a witness who was my witness, who, had seen the guy come at me, and for also interfering with the police's work duty by. Sorry, I'm laughing, Mike. All these charges just so mad that thankfully I got everything on Periscope as far as the police go, because me resisting is an absolute, it's just.
In fact,
ridiculous.
I'll fill people in. She did say have a gay day, which even if you go back to the 1930s, it means have a happy day, have a good day, be on with your day, make it a good day. And that's where she's at. And the police we had live when it was happening, they came to her door. Amy would not answer the door and was asking why you're there, who's there, was afraid to open the door. And after about maybe 10 or 8 minutes of back and forth through the door, they came through the door, grabbed Amy. She actually was kind of thrown to the ground. Something broke. Her cell phone was still filming at the time. And they were arresting Amy and took her to the police department. I think you were gone, I believe, a couple hours because you came back on the subway. Is that what happened that day? You were gone a few hours?
I was in the cells for 6 hours before they questioned me. And then they put me in another 4 hours before they released me. So, they just totally mind gamed me into giving them my phone details because of the footage that I had on there. But what I'm sure they haven't realized is that I live streamed it and then it's out there, because the statement by the police officer, the woman particularly, who was vile, implicates that she tried to suggest that my phone was, a threat and whatever. Anyway, it's just all. It's all crazy, Mike, with all the stuff that's going on politically, with the way that, I have to mention Tommy only in that, I'm not Tommy. I'm totally nowhere in his league of his, what he's achieved, what he's gone for, what he's gone through for years. It just, we share the same goals, same hopes of trying to stem this Islamification of the country and this destruction of our democracy and our free speech and our rights, and I happen to have been, doing it in a place that's iconic at Speaker's Corner, because there it's so visible, it's so visual. A lot of people hear things, they hear stuff and they hear things spoken about, but when, I can show it as is, live, undoctored, how people act, what they say, it is how it is. And say a couple of weeks ago, I had the most horrific thing happen to me of being assaulted in London.
And if you guys didn't see it, 2 things happened. One, Amy, over time, has gone to Speaker's Corner, stands up to anybody and everybody in the Muslim community, right face to face, and says what she believes is best for her country, and they come back with vitriol right in her face, nose to nose. And Amy doesn't back down. And she did that so often. And then most recently, Amy went to, I think it looked like you were, I'm not sure exactly where you were. Were you were at some stores or some restaurants, I believe. Was there like a Muslim prayer area? What was that place right there?
It's Soho in London. It's an area in London which I hadn't been there personally before. And it was actually an Islamic center. So it was a little sort of shop front. And, I'd gone to meet this guy, Tan, who had become a sort of figure of he's against Islam because of how it's gone, and he's from Malaysia, so he was a bit of a character. The Muslims didn't like him because of his he was very outspoken and quite aggressive verbally with what he said, never physically. He'd said something really disturbing. He made a disturbing speech which was extremely full of, well, I'll just say, racial slurs, and just completely launched a verbal attack on everybody. Even it was friendly fire, enemy fire, every fire. It was just nobody untouched. So he did this 2 weeks in a row, and it was very disturbing. So I asked he offered to meet me for coffee in London, away from cameras, just the two of us. And I really just wanted to find out what was making him tick, what made him completely go off the rails as far as launching an attack on Tommy. You know, it was just so disturbing. And so, because I really did like him, you know, from what I knew of him, he'd sent a couple of very nice messages to me back in March, April, before he was kept out of the country. Mm-hmm. So I agreed to meet him for coffee. He arranged the time and the place, and I met him. And whilst I was there, didn't record anything, was just talking. It became obvious that he really wasn't. I wasn't getting anywhere with him. You know, it was upsetting. And then he just said, "I'm just going around to the Islamic Center. You know, they're going to be praying on the streets. So he said, you probably want to film it, and just, you know, just stand back, you know, in the thing." Mm-hmm. And I thought, okay, yeah, because, you know, I've been obviously instrumental in the public prayer, which is against the law of the land, but particularly at Speaker's Corner, I was able to, you know, get the police to enforce the law of the parks and the land.
And if I can add, if people don't know, over the last 3-4 years, there are over 100 Sharia courts that surround London, where there are Muslim gangs that make you quote the Quran. They beat people up. It has become, even though they may not be the majority yet in total count, they have calls to prayer that are out loud and proud in front of everybody. And it's become overtaken. And of course, the mayor has not helped that one bit. He's actually enhanced it in a very negative way. So Amy was there to film Tan doing something in front of the Islamic Center. So go ahead, Amy.
He said he was going to stop them praying on the street to, you know, they blocked the sidewalk. Now, you know, everything that I do is out of knowledge and experience. I've studied the Quran, not, you know, I've read it. I've got multiple copies to make sure that you know, it does say what it says, and I've researched all the history and Muhammad and everything. So I know what I'm talking about. It never went unarmed with knowledge. It's not just a prejudice or anything else out of an emotional thing. It's purely factually based, challenging the whole ideology, which everybody can see and has seen is an absolute nightmare. So my dislike of the ideology, it's not personal for the people, it's just the principle, and I want a fair, just application of the British law. So praying in the streets is not legal anywhere, and we know as well, because of the ideology, because of the mental side of it, that it is purely a show of force. It's disrespecting the people around. So that was that I took that opportunity to show in the street, because obviously I'd been at Speaker's Corner within the park when I was challenging it. So I thought, okay, I'll go and I'll film to see what he's going to do, having no idea what he was going to do. Didn't tell me, didn't say. So I stood away from where he was, and I was filming. And obviously what he did, I mean, I found it quite amusing. It was quite funny. I had no idea. And then, I was filming everything, and it all became very agitated, the area, everybody's getting very angry, and I stand my ground. If I'm, feel I'm not doing anything wrong.
You always do.
And was filming what was happening, and I was getting aggressively spoken to, and, I didn't expect any of it, because I had no idea, it was not pre-planned or anything. So the next thing I know, I was, and this one guy put his hands on Tan to move him. This black girl came after my phone. Oh my God, I don't know if you know, Mike, but the one girl, it's all on the footage. She came after me. She grabbed my phone, which I grabbed, anybody grabs my phone, I go for it, the phone, because I don't want it to be smashed, because it's bloody expensive, So I went for my phone to get it back from her, got it back, she dropped it. Well, then I'm standing, continue to film. Tan gets manhandled, which I have a word with the guy who's doing it. The next thing I know, he's going for my phone. The next thing I know, this big oaf who's standing there, who hadn't said a word, hadn't said anything, he was just hanging around, just up and swiped at my phone, knocked it out of my hand, which upset me. I gave him a tap to the stomach, which was like, hitting a rubber ball. And then pow, I felt the most horrendous impact from the left side of my face. It was just
you did.
Unbelievable.
And you were out, meaning when you hit the ground, I saw that part, but you were not awake.
No.
Yeah.
I didn't know I'd been knocked out until after I saw the footage, because I just, you don't know that you've been knocked out until somebody tells you, because, I was standing, then I was on the ground, and my brain had felt like it had just been mushed when I woke up. It was just the most excruciating pain.
Yes.
So yeah, he knocked me out for it. Just, it wasn't long. It was a few seconds, thankfully, miraculously. And then this tan character just, said, yeah, you'll be fine. And then he got up and carried on doing his bloody, chanting, which I thought was bizarre. And then I got a great, the Muslims there's one particular guy who's from Speaker's Corner, was telling the woman not to help me.
Yes.
He was telling this woman not to help me. He said, no, she's not, don't, she's racist. I said, for God's sake. It was disgusting.
He was saying women should not be out without a man leading them. He was saying all kinds of stuff. I heard everything.
Disgusting. So it's all been very, it's the strangest thing. But the most amazing thing about it was that, and everybody sees on the footage that he just calmly walks away. The thug who just, I had not a word with him, by the way, nothing. So it felt to me very much, after the way Tan was behaving and the way it all happened, very suspicious as some kind of a setup to get me, which is, because of course I wasn't doing anything. It was Tan who was doing the antagonizing. Tan was doing everything that was, if they could interpret it as being rude or whatever, if anybody was going to get anything, it should have technically been him, but they went after me, a woman, okay, middle-aged, not old.
Well,
enough of the old.
And within the next, within the next day or two, he was found. The one who punched you, before you get to the tan stuff, he was found, or pictures were posted. Was he not found? Was he found and arrested?
Well, he was only found, this is the thing, is that the police claimed that he got away, and over the weekend, Tommy Robinson put up a bounty. Tommy Robinson put up £1,000 reward. Danny Tomo put up a £500 reward to identify the man who did it, because obviously I had the footage. On the Monday, one of my people who follows me, supports me, went herself to try and find him. Went to Soho, went to the area, and there he was, bold as brash, having a coffee at the same place that I happened to have coffee with Tan.
I posted that picture. He was having a coffee by himself.
Calmly, not the least bit looking concerned.
Yep.
She phoned the police five times on the emergency number to try and get him picked up. They were not interested. They didn't want to know. They told her to fill in a form. So when I informed this great guy, Glenn, about it, the next thing I know, he phoned up the police and he said, look, you get him picked up by 5 o'clock today. Otherwise, there's 400 men coming down to Soho to find him. So you either get him or we'll get him.
Mm-hmm.
So that's amazing.
It was amazing.
They picked him up.
Yes,
they got him. They arrested him. I gave my statement, and so he was charged just with assault. But that's something I'm going to discuss with the police before he appears. He's due to appear. There was confusion about the dates. I believe it's the 16th. But trying to get information from the police is like trying to get blood from a stone or water from a stone.
And everyone, I played it live on the show, Melissa. I played it multiple times on the show, at least 10 times. I posted it multiple times, and it's way out there. Everyone has seen this, so I can dig it up again, but it has been played by many people. So after this,
it's very
Amy,
disturbing.
After the arrest, what happened?
So they get charged. The next thing you know, on Twitter, my image was put out, and my address, the image of my street address was tweeted out on
So her information was put out there like being doxxed. I received a note from Amy saying she had to leave and go to, I believe, a hotel, and had to get to a safe place, which she needed to. She needed a mental break from this because of how scary it is to give out your what happens when you're doxxed in this way. Go ahead.
Well, remember with the MAGA lot, they doxed me.
Yes, I do.
In fact, the MAGA, Glenn said he was going to give my details to the jihadis in London.
Yep.
Because they had my address. So in case they were upset about my, with what I did with the waving my bacon sandwich around.
I remember.
Yeah, so from that, knowing I know my details were out there, and didn't know if gone through with having given them my details, and then again, now this time, because obviously with my activism, the hatred from the left, as everybody knows over there, it knows no bounds. So, just having seeing my street, the image, the Google Earth image of my street was just that sort of really got to me. So I thought, okay, until I can make sure, I had to leave. I had to get to a safe place. And the police had to put a marker on my house and on my number, which is that, if they get a call, if I do the emergency number, then they know they've got to get there, because it's, I mean, they have to get there anyway, but it's an extra little push. So yeah, so they doxed me on Twitter, and obviously all the reactions from the people who love me so much was pretty vicious. You just see the base of society when something so brutal happens, which everybody can see. It's not just word of mouth. It's not me just saying I was assaulted. It's a very powerful, very horrific, and just in the middle of the day. Okay, this was in London on a Friday afternoon, Mike, and for me to have been assaulted in front of all those witnesses and just brutally done is just horrific. And the reactions of people, I had a bit of a training with the MAGA law, the MAGA maggots. I've definitely had my boot camp of
Yes.
how to take abuse.
It was brutal. I have to tell everyone, if you guys don't understand, like, you've probably seen some bad things on Periscope or online, but I don't think you understand the level in which this group that claims to be MAGA tried to devastate Amy in every verbal, possible, written, exposed sort of way, that such mental abuse could break anyone. When I say break you, it could break you and have a breakdown. It could physically, mentally break you. And without having true friends, because Amy, these are the times you kind of find out people who really you can contact, versus the ones we found out, which you thought were okay, actually were not okay. In fact, there are so many moles within the organization that would befriend you in your scope and be the ones getting intel to return back to them. It was really bad, guys. And if you remember what I went through,
I mean, it was the followers, it was the supporters who, I'd met them. I'd met them at the cafefe, which was probably the most disturbing thing. It's one thing strangers being absolutely, saying things that I've never heard in my life. I've lived a regular life. I've lived in America, lived in Spain, lived everywhere, worked in both multiple countries. Never in my life have I heard such base, disgusting, revolting language, and such hatred from nothing, from having done nothing. I did nothing to these people. The ones who were being, in the chat, the words they used, it was stunning. I mean, I dealt with it because, I knew what they were trying to do. They were just trying to intimidate me into silence, to go away, to leave them alone. And that was the last thing I was going to do. Those are words that the more they went after me, the more I was determined to carry on.
Well, that was the goal, Amy. When they went after me too, their goal was to silence us. That is the number one goal, to get us off so we don't support MAGA, because they claim to be MAGA under the guise of that. But the truth is, they're there to destroy it from within, and they wanted us silenced.
And make money while they're at it. They were collecting money. That was the biggest thing. If these guys were just some group of people with their little gang, that was one thing. But they're super PAC. They're politically and financially supported by great people who have no idea what these creatures are up to. And so that was my sole goal, was to get them off the platform. I really wanted them, I wanted them removed. I wanted their financial, the PAC, super PAC part. I just wanted them away from MAGA. And it was in principle. It was nothing, I had no reason to go after them, but until I found that they weren't actually MAGA. They're not MAGA. They're not MAGA. They're not Donald Trump MAGA. Any way, shape, or form. I mean, and they're still operating, obviously, but I did get, I do feel that, there was definitely an impact from what I did, despite all of the gun clicking and threats. It was pretty disgusting. It was disgusting. And of course, because I'm in the UK, the FBI were involved. I haven't been able to catch up with Anne Vandersteel to see how she's getting on, because obviously the disgusting. I say words don't exist to describe what these creatures did say and are trying, emotionally doing to lovely people. I mean, they just don't exist. But again,
It was
I
rough.
will not be intimidated by anybody, anywhere, at any time. And even with these people who've done what they've done to me, I will carry on. I'm intending to carry on to spread the message. My goal is to awaken the people who are asleep, awaken the people who, or enlighten the people who have been kept in the dark because of the fake stream media, the whole just sinister propaganda machine that has been functioning for many, many, many decades, unbeknownst to us. I was,
Right.
quite
Everybody,
naive.
Amy.
I had no idea the depth of corruption, and seeing what's going on in the States, seeing what's going on with Donald Trump. I mean, President Trump, what we've seen, for people, it used to be when politicians, they wanted to get their programs done. They would BS and say, oh yes, we're interested in these people, we're interested. Yeah, we want border security. Yep. Now they don't even hide it. They don't want border security. They don't want anything. They don't want anything civilized, nothing. They just want power. That's all they want. They don't care how they get it, what they do. And so they don't even hide it. And we would only be finding all of this out. The only reason why we're finding out is because of Donald Trump. If it was anybody else, we'd never know. We'd still be in the dark. We'd still be having all this stuff going on that we would not understand why it's going on. It is truly horrifying how despicable and disgusting these demon rats, I call them, are. And same is true for this country. I mean, the problem is we don't have President Trump. I keep on asking if we can borrow him, just for I'm sure. If I say a week, I'm sure he'd even have time for a couple of rounds of golf, for the most part, to take care of this country. Just get Brexit done, sort out the European Union as well. Might be give him 10 days, might be a bit more. But if we could just, but I know, actually, I mean, I'm saying that, but I know what he's doing incredibly miraculously is having an impact on us and on you positively.
It is.
For the
it is. People don't know the difference what London and the UK is today versus what it was many years back. The last time I was there, I think was 2004, and it was starting to change. And I got to know Tommy because of a guy named Graham in here, and had him on the show. And he told me what he dealt with growing up, and people don't even know the real stories of what went on in Luton and all these other places over time. The Muslim integration there has taken over. Now, we meaning the folks in London, could have won the vote and had another mayor. But what happened was they didn't show up to vote according to all the sources, and because they didn't, they lost the opportunity.
Yeah, I'll keep talking in case you can still hear me.
I can. Can you hear me, Amy? You kind of froze.
Well,
there you go. You're back.
Oh, you got me. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, the whole thing with losing. Yeah, it's transformed for it's just in the most unpleasant way. And I've done all I do is research, Mike. I mean, I've got a hunger for history. I've got a hunger for knowledge and truth and an explanation. Like Judge Judy says, if it's doesn't make sense, it's not true. And so much has not made sense. I've wanted to find out why. And with my research, I've discovered all these treaties that have been made behind closed doors in the European Union with Africa, the Middle East. And that's why this flood of migration under the guise of civil war and, refugee, whatever, it's all been planned for decades. So this is the most appalling attack on the civilized world. It is truly horrifying. And again, my goals, my personal reasons for doing this is I have always heard about the responsibility of the current generation, to pass on the world as a better place if we can to the next generation. That's our duty, in a world as human beings, is to try and pass on the world in a better condition. At the moment, it's turning into a hellhole on a daily basis, and so I have no power. All I have is my voice, and I have Periscope. Thank God. I mean, everybody is so rude about Periscope, but I tell you what, Periscope has sort of saved me in many ways, and I'm hoping to God it does on Monday, because I have the footage that proves the unbelievable treatment I've received at the hands of the British police. It is just shocking what they do, and we see what's happened to Tommy.
Right.
And here's the thing: is people have tried to reassure me about this. Just I said, have a gay day. I didn't do anything wrong. Nothing, nothing. And people say, no, you'll be fine. You'll be fine. You'll be fine. Well, look, I'm on trial now from nothing.
Nothing.
And so, when people say, oh, they'll just drop it. I'm sorry, but now what with I have to show Tommy with him that everybody knows what happened to him within 5 hours, which again was from nothing. He did nothing wrong, and he found himself in prison. And we know from everything that's been revealed so far that he still did nothing wrong, and they still put him in prison, and they're still putting him on trial. So the world has changed. It's very sinister. We've got to, I'm totally behind Tommy 100%.
Right.
And but obviously I have my own trial to go through literally on Monday.
You're a voice there. I mean, Tommy was filming, I believe, at court regarding a massive and devastating gang rape trial. Am I correct?
Yeah. He's brought to the public eye, through the internet, the actual, because the media doesn't cover it. The media, it covers up, it totally turns a blind eye. But what he's been doing and dedicating himself to has been revealing the raping gangs, the numbers of people being tried. He's gone to the cases, but nothing that he's done was illegal, or just wasn't. But he was shedding a light on the actual situation, and how big it was.
Amy, what was his trial? I know he just had court. When is his next? What's the next step for Tommy?
Okay, there's the 23rd.
23rd is his day. Now, if everyone doesn't understand, he was put in solitary. But what would have happened? What would have happened is if they put him in the public, what they call the general population, he would be devastated because it's mainly filled with Muslim gang members. Is that right?
They made sure that the prison that he was sent to that they whisked him away to at the dead of night was majority Muslim controlled, and prisons in this country, it seems they've been lost to the inmates. They have the control. It's just mad. It's just crazy, and
they're trying to prove a point with this whole process, knowing that it's Tommy.
Well, they basically want him to be silenced permanently, and this is what everybody's so distressed about, is that the prison system here is not how it is in the States. The control, the power, the strength, nothing. It's completely, it's just.
Can I ask you this? Why won't, and we understand Theresa May's not done a good job. We understand she won't put in a full Brexit and do what the people want. We understand that. But why won't someone like her or anyone of any power step in and realize to do the right thing? Why is everyone so silent, even at the top? Someone said, why is the Queen silent? Why is Theresa May silent? Why is there silence?
Because we found out, and I'm 100% convinced that the systematic covering up has come from the top. When we're finding out, it's been kept, quiet by the media, which is disgusting. The police, horrific, and the government. The policy has been to enable this to continue. They've set it up so that Islam is going to be I refuse to call it a religion. It's ideology, is what I say. That the goal is to have that. It just sounds absolutely nuts with all the conspiracy theorists, but it is true. I've seen the paperwork. I've seen the stuff. It is the idea is the one world order, the globalist agenda of having the one government based in Europe, anyway, this part of the world, and Islam is the ideology which is the most controlling, And it's the dumbing down of society with the people coming from the third world. They just want to destroy civilization for just control. And it's the shocking revelations that are happening is that we have no allies in this country. There's nobody who does want to do the right thing. Tommy Robinson is a 100% political prisoner, target. They want him silenced because he's shining a light on the darkness, the absolute.
There aren't many people doing that, Amy. You have a few people, Katie Hopkins, Amy Meck, yourself. There aren't many. There's a handful of people willing to speak, and that's about it. Is that how you see it also?
Yeah. It's a very definitely the people are in prison. The group that I knew was Britain First. Both of them were in prison because of they were shedding a light on the same thing about the raping gangs in the different towns. They were confronting the people who were doing it because they're being released. They're free and walking free. It's the most appalling state of affairs, and it's such a betrayal to the youth, to the kids of this world. It's just so horrifying. And yeah, there's only a few of us who are putting ourselves out there. And I understand the fear that people have for why they don't want to do it. And a lot of people, it's incredible the level of whether it's cognitive dissonance, willful ignorance, just wanting to just not see what is clearly right
blind
before.
eye. Absolutely. Let me add, Amy, there's not only a few of us here too that actually do it authentically, because we found out there's a lot of wolves in sheep's clothing, that pretended to be on the train and then would turn their backs on the train when it served them most, like the Mike Cernovics and many others that did what they did. And there's only a few of us speaking the truth. And you know how hard it is to, when we turn off our cameras, we live with the fact that people are either coming after us, doing horrible things, creating nonsense online, and us having to deal with it. It's a mind-bending experience to be silent when you're not on camera and understand all that's coming at you, because, Amy, it's overwhelming and devastating personally to just be by yourself and live with the fact of what you're dealing with, your court case, your information being posted out there, and not having support locally to run to. You have a lot of friends that are online, but no one locally, like right there, that could, give you the support you need.
Well, again, there's definitely the whole. It's unbelievable, Mike. With as you say, wolves in sheep's clothing. There's double agents. I mean, it's just ridiculous. The amount of people who I thought were allies who've come into my life. Obviously, with the work I'm doing, I'm going to meet a lot of people. They're going to come into my life, especially with Speaker's Corner. Well, I'm afraid they're on the other side and just infiltrating in order to destroy. Which is it's a real challenge to really know who you can trust and who really is on the side of right. Okay, and they're obviously trying to get at me because of my what the meat loaf did to me. They could just call him meatloaf.
Where you can say it. It's okay.
The maggots coalition, where they doxed me and they came up. They dredged up my very tragic period of my life.
Your medical information.
Yeah, and what I went through, and I was in prison for it. This is what people don't realize. I'm getting that now because he dragged it up from before. This is my enemies are trying to use it to, again, they're trying to emotionally destroy me.
They're trying to break you. Amy went through devastating times that she overcame. I told you my story overcoming meningitis, being paralyzed and all that. If you think that's bad, what Amy went through was quite severe. She overcame it, and then they drudged it all up, posted it everywhere, and tried to shame her into being that person again every day, every minute, multiple times per day. And there were 10 people doing it, multiplicity to Amy, every moment. And it was so hard. I just want people to understand, it wasn't just, speaking about it. It was like trying to drive a stake into Amy to get her to not be here anymore. I'm serious about it. I just want people to understand it was very rough.
Well, and they're doing it now. What's happening, because I'm going to have to do a little bit of I realize, because there's a lot of people who are new, the British side, since my Speaker's Corner work. I've had a lot of new people come in to find out what I'm doing, and so obviously with the situation is now, my enemies have dragged it up again, and the Muslims were, and I don't know. The suspicion I have, obviously, is the MAGA lot did give the information to the jihadis in London, and told them where to look. And so people now are trying to discredit me, because they're trying to portray me as some kind of nutcase. And we all have our crosses to bear, and I went through particularly years of a very devastating time with my health, that destroyed my career, destroyed my personal life, destroyed everything. And this is, it was years that I had to deal with daily constant pain. And there is no manual out there on how to deal with it. Nobody
Right.
knows what you're going through. So it did get to me after 10 years of 8 years, solid of one surgery, hospitals after another, pain. So yeah, I mean, I challenge anybody not to be affected by it, but it did affect me. And I did I tried to just make my way out early. And the method that I used was different. And so thankfully it didn't happen, it didn't work. I got through it. Through hard work, mentality, I realized, there's a reason for me to be here. I overcame all of that hell. My health is not as bad. I'm not in as much pain. I'm functioning much better. I still have to deal with the consequences of it all, of the years of having lost personal life, professional life. That's all been dealt with. But I've overcome it. I have a mission. I have a purpose.
True.
For me, a really important mission to try to do what I can for my conscience, for the future, for the kids, because I've seen this country just transform into an absolute. It's turning into a pit. I mean, obviously, there's many lovely places, and people are still going about their business, but the darkness, the violence, the stuff that just was never here before, the terrorism in London, the Islamic terrorism, it is just shocking. And I can see where we're going. And so, I have the strength of mind, I have the knowledge, I've enlightened myself. I know I have truth, I have facts, I have evidence of what I'm trying to do.
Yes.
And as long as I can physically be able to do it, I'm going to continue doing it. I now have to obviously take more precautions. I can't really just rock up to Speaker's Corner anymore. The police have pretty much given the green light from the footage that I've shown. Some of the footage that I've uploaded onto YouTube. I haven't shown everything, but it's become obvious to me that the police in London, the ones who are directly involved with the Muslims at Speaker's Corner, have pretty much given the green light to have at it with me. So, sensibly speaking, I need to take a different approach. But I will still be doing what I'm doing. They are not going to stop me. And obviously, as long as the biggest thing at the moment, Mike, is obviously Monday, and knowing what's happened to Tommy and others, from nothing. I need all the support I can get, and I need all the people. I mean, I know I'm Amy, Amy, Miss Amy with the story time, Miss Amy with the thing. I'm who I'm not, Tommy Robinson, but and so therefore I need people to be aware of what's going on, because once you go behind closed doors, I've been to prison, okay, because of my emotional, what happened to me. I was punished for what happened to me. When I tried to take my life, I was dealt with in the harshest way possible, was being imprisoned, because they lied, of course. Let me just quickly say, all these numbers are being thrown around of 50 times trying to, having to be pulled from the sea. It was 5. it was 5, but the lying media, the lying prosecutors, they just added a naught, a 0 to the 5, which made it seem so much worse, so much more, well, extreme, really. So, yeah. So with the way they can twist things and turn things, and with what they've already done to me with this "Have a Gay Day." I mean, who would think it that
Right.
from a comment like that, which I didn't swear, nothing. I just said "Have a gay day." I swear that was it.
Right.
And from that to this, I've gone through the most outrageous dealings with the police and the brutal arrest. What they're trying to do. They're trying to shut me up. Well, all I beg for is the support, verbally, emotionally. Obviously, I am going to have to request, people, if they can help me financially to get the best, or at least more than what I can get as far as a barrister goes. Because
I should add, people are saying that in the chat of how to donate. Based Amy, people have been saying, would you match me if I donate this or donate that? And I can tell you that, speaking to Amy offline and knowing her how I do, the hardest thing for Amy to do is ask for this kind of help for anything. Just so you know, Amy is not that person. She would never say, could you give me $1? Ever. And so that's been the toughest part for her to discuss with anyone, because I know her offline. So you guys, anyone who's willing to help, it's super helpful. One, she has the court costs, and all she's doing is defending her rights and trying to get her country back. The same thing we're doing here. And she has a huge purpose now. We've all gone through something devastating, which propelled us to something quite special. I do it my way. Amy does it her way. But we both come together for a common voice to help each other out. So I'm asking you all to get involved. If you can get involved and help her in any form, including financial, please help, please support, and let's get her through this moment so she can continue to have a voice and be healthy and happy. And by the way, I want to bring up a couple names. She mentioned a few names earlier of the bad people out there. She mentioned the fake MAGA group out there that is here to only hurt people. That is their only goal, is to destroy. Second,
and make money while they're doing it.
And they did
get
make
money from good people.
Yes. And I recently, Amy, you didn't see my show 2 days ago, but at the beginning of the show, I took 25 minutes and I went through another person who is out there hurting many people that some people befriended and found out she was a phony. And her name is Lynn. She was doing horrible things to people, and she's pretending to cry for help from everybody. But she's the one causing the issues with everyone. I have her emails. So there are so many wolves in sheep's clothing. I urge you all to go through your contact list. Take a look at the people you follow and that follow you. And if you're not satisfied, block them, get them out, and get out of your chat groups, because the hurtful places are in direct messages that are not encrypted. They're there to change them, manipulate your words, make it seem like you did something, and post negative things about you. And they've done it to all of us, me included, Amy included, and many others. So I just want to caution people of take a look at who you are hanging out with online or beyond. It's a wasteland of disgust. And use your voice in a more positive way to support the president. Right, Amy?
Absolutely. And my I talk about this country, but obviously because I'm a born American, so my heart is in America. I've got split down the middle nationality from my mum from Scotland, but I grew up in the States as well as here. I've had a very unusual life, and so my patriotism flows through my veins for both countries. I have a love for both, and my purpose is for seeing what's going through this country. I really don't know. Where there's a will, there's a way. Where there is hope. As long as you keep trying. But I do try to. Thankfully, people are listening in America. You're seeing it happening there, but it's a learning. It's like Hungary has learned. Hungary and Poland,
big time.
They get it. They know it, and they are doing what they need to do to save the people.
Take note to how they did that. They really did a good job. Hungary stepped up to the plate. And to some people, it might sound rude the way they handled it, but you must be bold and brash to protect your citizens. That's your number one job as a leader. And Hungary proved that with the way they spoke, and they backed it up. And I'm very proud to say President Trump is doing that here. and we needed that. And unfortunately, where you are, you don't have that. And someone just said, how do they donate? You can scroll up in the chat. It's basedamy.com. But Amy, you were making a very good point there. Huh?
So it's basedamy.com/support. That's to my PayPal thing. I did set up a GoFundMe as well, but I'm not really, it's a bit more complicated with the GoFundMe. So if whichever way you can would be amazing. It's for the legal costs, which God knows, I have no idea what to expect. Everything gets dragged out here. One would hope that I would go and hopefully with this barrister that I haven't been able to. It's been through friends who helped me before with my first appearance. They have extremely extensive knowledge, and so they've because it's not just getting hold of a barrister, Mike. It's getting hold of one who cares. Because I've had legal assistance here. And they're supposed to be defense people. They're supposed to be on your side, but I swear to you, they are totally 100% establishment. They're not defense people. They work for. They're in the system. So to try and get, I've seen it in history, Mike. I've seen it in the States when I've seen defense. I still see it with defense attorneys will protect the most heinous person to the nth degree for their rights of whatever they have, even though, I have an issue with that. But I don't know how some people can defend some people who, when they know they've done something, but they do. That's the job is supposed to be. A defense attorney is supposed to be protecting the client. Well, that doesn't work here. As you can see, even from Tommy, I don't know these barristers that he has, but how they haven't managed to stop this thing from going ahead, to me, tells me, I don't know who's working for him, but quite honestly, with all the stuff that was said in the last case, where the judge, the highest, most senior judge in the land, totally tore up the whole system of what was done to Tommy. By rights, he should not be going back to trial. It should have just been thrown out. But so I don't know what they're doing. I don't know what they're doing. These two charges they've added, which don't make any sense to me. His people who are defending him should have been able to challenge that rubbish. So I don't know who these people are. So here, it's a very different situation. You don't have, because they just have the word defense. That's what is in their title. No, it's not, because that's how I'm in my situation now. Is because I was completely let down. I was given bad advice, and so I need to find someone who believes in civil rights, the genuine rights of people. Because I'm not a criminal. I'm not a person who's in any way as a criminal trying to deceive, trying to get something for nothing, trying to break the law. I've not broken the law.
No, not at all. In fact, Amy, we used to have something here called the ACLU, and you've heard of them. Well, the ACLU just did a commercial comparing Kavanaugh to Bill Cosby. The ACLU was here to defend moments like yours as an example, and you don't have that opportunity. We don't have that here any longer to defend the rights of the citizens like you're dealing with, and it's very unfortunate. And yes, someone should have stepped in and made sure that Tommy doesn't go back to court at all, and that would have set a new precedent for further cases similar to yours, not the same as Tommy's, to take a look at moments like this too. And they're not defending their citizens, and now they've taken over, and the voices have disappeared. It's very, very raw, and it's a shame, because London's a beautiful place. The historic moments in London are never forgotten, and yet with Brexit had such potential, Amy, to bring things back to once they were with the rights of the citizens, and it's falling apart every day when it doesn't get implemented at its purest sense, don't you think?
Absolutely. The whole point is that we don't have President Trump. We don't have Theresa May is not she doesn't want to leave. She's a bit more like a puppet. Although I have to say, again, with the fake media and all the stories, there's so much you have to go through to get to the actual truth. And for me, there's this little glimmer of hope when I hear her speaking. I've heard her say the right things. What is said about what she says and what is saying is a totally different story. So I think because it's such a mire, a quagmire, a swamp of
good word,
just corruption and this desire to do the globalist thing, which they're just clinging on to like I don't know, a headless snake is trying to still slither about and do his stuff.
Yes.
They know that without the UK within Europe, they're done, because it's the money. It's all about the money. Follow the money. They need the money. That will really, really severely affect the European Union. So they are doing everything they can to undermine it. And it's just really shocking to me, Mike, how many, again, they're just lemmings. They're just willful idiots who should know better, and who have seen me maybe in some of my scopes in London when I'm coming up against these twits with this stupid EU flags and this stop Brexit, and they seem to be normal people who
Right.
don't have anything to gain, and yet they're blindly just trying to stop this this thing from happening. So it is I think, Mike, a lot of things that I didn't expect to have happen, unfortunately, are making me feel to do what I have to do,
I know.
because there's no way I thought that with all the stuff that was going on, with all the crime, with all the increased violence and the Islamification of this country, I truly believe that regular people would have made a stand by now and said, no, 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 no. They're not. They've been. It's almost to say people. So it's almost like the what is it? The frog in the water, in the in the warm water, and they just turn the heat up, and people are just by the time they realize that the hell that is going to come, it's too late.
Right.
So I'm trying, me, Tommy, the other Katie Hopkins, and the Robert Spencers, and the Pamela Gellers, and the Bridget Gabriels, and the Anne-Marie Waters. I mean, there are, and Geert Wilders.
Yep.
I'm not anywhere in their leagues, okay? I'm just a regular person. I don't have the power. I don't have the platform, but I'm doing what I can do as just a normal person.
But let me add, it is the
out.
people like you and me that will make the difference. So, by the way, my big announcement for tomorrow is I have Anne-Marie Waters on. Anne-Marie Waters will be on. I was hiding it from everyone at tomorrow morning at 3 a.m. I have
wow.
Anne-Marie Waters on, and I'm very proud to say that. So I look forward to discussing all these topics with Anne-Marie Waters. And
that's going to be brilliant, Mike.
And we need to have people that have a voice. And like you said, Amy, they were once just you and me also. So remember that too. So everything we've been through are propelling us to something special. Listen, here's how I know. We have Lindsey Graham being the loudest voice in the Republican Party of all people that we could have chosen. And if that's happening, Amy, that means that everyone has a shot to be just as loud or make a difference. And that is quite special. So don't discount your voice thinking that it's minute, because it has created a stir. And that's the beginning stages of something beautiful to come. That's how I see it.
Well, thank you, Mike. I do appreciate that. I will request a lot of the old prayers times, because it is there do seem to be there's a lot of negative feeling towards me. There's tons of love, which is just amazing, and it makes me, well, it keeps me going. It's all the I can't tell you, when I was at the trial on Thursday outside the Old Bailey, the numbers of people who would they were coming and thanking me, and I got this beautiful necklace from a lady called Karen, and it's a healing stone. I can't remember what it's called again, but it's a healing stone. She just came and she gave it to me, and I tell you, the support is surreal, Mike. It's quite a because of course I'm speaking to my phone. I'm speaking to I see comments and things, but to actually really think of people in the flesh hearing me is it's still I haven't got used to that. So right. the and from all over the world. I mean, I'll just quickly tell you this. This is this guy called Mike, who's Australian. I mean, it's just amazing. He told me that he saw me from Australia at Speaker's Corner, because he'd been here decades before, and he saw me and he heard me and he came over because he wanted to come back and see Speaker's Corner and maybe meet me. And so, my God, I mean, that is just like the most That's amazing.
Amy,
it's just mind blowing.
It's incredible. My father passed away at the end of May, and he lived in a very small town in North Carolina. And so I've been there 2 or 3 times since to take care of his business affairs. And it's a very small town, only 4 restaurants on one street. And so there I am having coffee one morning, and someone taps me on the shoulder and says, "Are you Mike Closer?" And I said, "Yes." He goes, "I've been watching your show." And I'm thinking, how is this possible when the town probably has 1,200 people, maybe? So the next morning, it happened again. And it was all conservative town. And they said that the new media, like you just described, is making a difference. So don't discount this. If someone from Australia, we have Australians that watch this show every day from down under, and you have it too, that people do see. They may not be as loud as you and me, and vocal as you and me, and we put ourselves on the line, you and me, but they are seeing it. And so you can rest assured that your word and what you're doing is being recognized. And you and I don't do it for that reason, but you can rest assured it's happening.
No, in fact, and that's an amazing thing, Mike, is my goal has been, and it is to actually get to people. It's just the fact that it's happening just through a phone and a broadcast app is, it's just, that is probably the most astonishing thing. So
it is.
It is surreal, and I so appreciate it. And obviously what comes with this is the hatred, the opposite side, which is stuff that I know I'd never would have ever seen anything about. But I know what I'm doing is right, and I know that the people who hate me and they're not worth my time. But obviously because of the danger, I suppose there is real danger, especially after what happened a couple of weeks ago, which is it's had an impact on me. I can't tell you. Just not every day I get my head pounded, and I made it to the wrong side of 50 without ever being assaulted before. So,
right, I know.
And so it does. It's bizarre. It's a weird thing. It's not nice at all. But it's not going to stop me.
I know.
I just am going to be taking a slightly more cautious approach. Sensible-ish as much as I can be, Mike, because obviously.
Right.
I'm one of those people who.
We need to get you through this next step. So we get you through this next step, and we can realize that your voice will be quite powerful, and hopefully we can get someone to advocate for you in a public sense that gives the opportunity for people to truly understand the story and what's going on there. You're an example of one. Tommy's an example of one, and I'm sure there are others we haven't heard from yet that have been through an experience that hasn't been voiced through our platform. And so this will be a stepping stone and a learning experience for others, and hopefully it'll make a huge difference, and you're going to get through this part. Before we finish up, the chat has a ton of love. People are talking about donating and supporting in a big way.
Oh, thank you so much. I can't see anything because I've not got my glasses on, so that's why I haven't. I will look forward to seeing it, and thank you so much for everybody offering. Oh my God, please! I just cannot. I can't express my gratitude for everybody who's with the love and support, and putting in their hands in their pockets. I wish I was a Donald Trump and didn't need to ask. I tell you what, but unfortunately, it is what it is, and my life has taken a change, but my finances haven't. So, but it is putting a drain on it with all the activism, which I haven't been able to do as much, but I will do what I can, how I can, with what I can, and it is 4 days from now. Is I don't know what's going to happen. I really don't.
I know.
I've just got to, expect the worst, hope for the best. And I have to say, Mike, the work you do is very inspiring. You bring a smile to my day. The positivity that you exude about Donald Trump, the news you bring out, it is just a fantastic work that you do. And
thank you.
I don't pay attention. A lot of people have, said things about you to me, but you know what? I make my own mind up, Mike, and from what I see, I love it. I love what you do. I love what you produce, and despite the things that you're having to fight, you're still there, putting yourself out there, even when you feel like, So, more power to you, Mike, and I appreciate you.
Thank you for saying that. It's been through a lot. You should see, hey, I saw all the things people say about me, but that means we're doing something correct. I have 830 some episodes, Amy, that are all recorded, and people could see the level of things we've done, from fighting Black Lives Matter to supporting other movements to helping veterans. And so if people want to call us names and make up stories, they're welcome to do so, but they can also look at the testimonies and the details. And by the way, we've had awesome guests. I've had you on many times. I've had Shiva on running for Senate. We've had Joy. We've had we're going to have Anne-Marie Waters tomorrow. We've had many people. They wouldn't come on if the things we all know that people are saying were true. So they wouldn't be part of this. And I could not do it without people actually helping me get these interviews that are just viewers. Just so you know Graham?
Yes.
Graham is responsible for putting me in touch with Anne-Marie Waters' team to get them on the show. So it's people like Graham that introduced me to Tommy. It's people like out there that watch the show that help us get to the next step. So it's not me, it's we.
And listen, Mike, by the way, I did try and get from Graham who the special guest was going to be, and he would not tell me. And I only asked him, but he said, I'm sorry, I can't tell you. I understand. You need to keep his confidence. You need to keep the surprise. So he didn't tell me. And so for you to say it's Anne-Marie Waters, she's amazing. She's an amazing woman. Her voice is so important. And what just bites for me is how people are just not giving her the support. It's a very, very, it's sad because she's got the most amazing courage and knowledge and passion, and she just needs to have the people behind her. And so fantastic. I'm looking forward.
Yes,
I'm thrilled that you've got her on.
I'm very proud of what we've accomplished. We started off broadcasting in my little kitchen, and then and all of a sudden we've taken it up a notch, and we're doing good work. And we're playing a role, Amy, that's important. I'm retired, and I'm putting all my efforts and time into what I do. You've put all your efforts and time into this, and we've had devastating moments that have propelled us to the next step. So I ask everyone, before Amy goes, please jump into the basedamy.com/support, and you could help in any way you can. And at least
subscribe to my YouTube and my BitTube.
Yes.
As well.
And I want to see Amy back doing some story times, and I want to see I want to see the spirit back that I knew Amy from the beginning, because a lot of people finish their evenings with Amy, and it was a nice way to end your day for like a solid, beautiful chat. Am I right?
Okay, I will. Okay, story time will return.
Yes.
And I've got Tommy's. I'm reading Tommy's book, obviously. So I've left everybody hanging on, a while ago. So yes, okay. As you know, everything's been a little bit odd, a little bit wacky. So I will. Okay, that's on the list.
By the way, the reason I wanted to return once you get through this moment is because you had some really funny comments you'd make, some quibs during the process, and your spirit was shining there, and I want you to be in full Amy mode when that's all when you get through this. So I understand you have a moment to get through here, and let's do that first.
I'll be back. How
Amy
about that?
will be back.
Amy will be back.
And she'll also be back on my show. So Amy, you have an open invitation. So after this next hurdle is done, and hopefully it goes exactly as planned, I want you to come on here first and tell your story, and I'll make room for you anytime. So just simply say, I'd like to come on, and I'll make it happen.
Thank you so much, Mike. I really, really, really appreciate it, and loved everybody out there. I absolutely can't tell you how much it means to me. It means the world to me. It means the world. Your messages, support, just make me keep on going, because it's what I need. I need lots of I need to know that I am making a difference, just through words, people just supporting me. And if people don't like what I'm doing, if there's a little bit of, I take constructive criticism. I'm not great at criticism, but I will take criticism, and I'm always willing to learn, always willing to be enlightened. I love it. Love knowledge, love other people's opinions. So thank you so much, Mike.
You're welcome.
Thanks to everybody.
You're welcome. And I'll catch up with you like we always do each day. Just so you know, Amy and I send positive messages to each other almost every day to stay in touch. And I want you to know that she keeps in touch very well. So I'll have updates for you, and we'll have her back on here in a few days. So please support her and look for the next set of updates. And stay tuned. In an hour and 15 minutes, I'll have Tracy Beans on. And I'm very, so if you know Tracy, she'll be on the show here shortly. So Amy, have a beautiful day today, and I will talk to you offline, okay?
Cheers, Mike. Thank you so much.
Cheers to
Thanks,
you.
everybody, and look forward to talking to you again soon. And seeing
you got
you
it.
Soon, so.
All right, much love. Take care,
Amy. Have a
Amy.
great day. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks a lot.
You too.
Based Amy out.
Bye-bye.